Hello! Skateboarders will give you all kinds of advice. Bad, good, a couple things in between, but today I'm gonna deliver a lot more than you expected from the title of this video. Unless I decided to title this video 111 skateboard tips that you don't hear every day, which I might have. That sounds great. That's the title of an article that I found online, and I thought as a professional skateboarder of 5 years and a skateboarder for 20, I could give you my small bit of advice for every single one of these 111 pieces of advice. So a few things. I'm realizing how long this video would be if I actually went over all 111. So I'm gonna do 55 today, and if you want a part 2, I'll do that. Also, the people, links in description down below who actually wrote this article. It's Skateboarders HQ. They're all about skateboarding. It's fun, it's cool. Link in description, check them out. But yeah, let's go over 55. Also, my camera can't deal with the heat for that long. It literally has been dying like every other question, so let's do it. Number 1, start slow. Don't go for ollies and kickflips, just learn to ride first. Great piece of advice. The more comfortable you get with your board, the less scary and easier every other trick after that will be. So just practice riding around your neighborhood, pushing, etc. for at least the first couple of days. That's what I think. Tip number 2, you're never too old. Damn skipping. That's why skateboarding is the coolest thing ever, because at the skate park you'll see 60-year-olds skating with 10-year-olds. It's for every age. Tip number 3, don't skate in wet conditions. You're likely to fall and injure yourself, and yes, you are more likely to injure yourself, but if you do want to skate in the rain, just understand that it comes with challenges, and some people do have to just do that, and sometimes there's a thrill of it on its own. So I don't completely agree with never skating in the rain. Number 4 sounds a bit goofy, but make sure you figure out if you're regular or goofy footed. I don't think this is crucial. I think you're just gonna start skating the way that is the most comfortable. And sometimes people realize that doing some tricks switch is actually easier for them, so you don't have to completely know if you're regular or goofy. Tip number 5, on your first day of skateboarding, you should make sure to find a spot without rocks, twigs, or cracks. I 100% agree. That can be such a turnoff initially, so make sure the ground is perfectly smooth and all debris has been decapitated. Number 6 is learn the skate park rules before going to the skate park. Yes, I think that'll keep everyone safe, including you, so make sure you understand the etiquette. I've made videos about this in the past, so you can just watch one of those. Hard wheels are great for tricks, big soft wheels are great for cruising. Want both? Go with something in between. With this one, you can just ask the skate shop owner what that is, but I would recommend a size 54mm wheel for something that I think kind of lives perfectly in between. Now this one's actually new to me. Tip number 8, don't let others ride your board too often. Your bushings will start to deform because not everybody rides the same. That's probably true, but it's not gonna be significant enough, I think, to really affect you. So I think it's okay that you let others cruise on your board whenever, but that gets annoying, right? Tip number 9, to practice ollies and 180s, you can tie an inner tube of a tire around your feet and practice tricks like that. It won't get you any better at doing the tricks, but maybe the motion will become more comfortable. I don't actually legit think that would really help with learning ollies or 180s, but sounds fun. Tip number 10 is kind of just an obvious one. It says low on cash, at least pick a decent deck. Well, that's ironic because if you're low on cash, it's gonna be hard to find a good skateboard, I would say. So if you have $50, I think you can buy a complete skateboard that will do you just right on Amazon, probably, at least for a beginner. It won't be good once you start getting good at skating though. Tip number 11 is very practical. Make sure your grip tape doesn't come in contact with your clothes because it will tear it up. So if you're holding your board on your side like this, grip tape will tear up your shirt completely. Tip number 12, got a chip sticking out of your board. You can push it back by slamming it gently on the ground. You can, but usually when a chip exists, it will make that part of the board weaker and that will end up coming off later. It's always a pain to deal with, but that is good advice to temporarily keep it at bay. Tip number 13, get suede shoes from a reputable skate brand. Gonna have to agree. I love canvas shoes, but they do tear up actually in just a couple of flip tricks. Like literally first day, you'll have a hole through the entire shoe, but they do feel good. Tip number 14, I 100% agree with, but new trucks and bushings require some time to break in. Wait for a few sessions until you adjust your truck. So they're gonna feel loose at first, get a couple sessions in, and sometimes the bushings will break in, and then you'll realize that they got tighter on their own. Tip number 15, don't be discouraged by skilled skateboarders. Everyone was a beginner once, and everybody learns at a different pace and learns different types of tricks, so don't be discouraged. Tip number 16, act nice and ask for tips. Most skateboarders love to help out, absolutely, and you can find a lot of tutorials on YouTube nowadays, so you got all the things there to help you become great. Tip number 17 hits a little too close to home, but skate with friends or make skate friends at your local skate park. Skating alone can be demotivating and it's harder to progress on your own. It's actually true. If you have skate friends, it's easier to kind of use them as rivals and progress together. So try to find people to skate with early on, at least, for sure. Tip number 18, don't throw your board around in frustration. It's bad for your equipment and it makes you look like a tool. Yeah, it will damage your board and everybody will think you're lame. And this is something that I struggle with sometimes. I think tip number 19 is great. Don't let anyone tell you how to hold your board or how to push. If you push Mongo, that's totally fine. Do what feels natural. And then the tip said that sometimes there are issues with pushing Mongo. And the truth is there isn't. Some of the best skaters in the world, they push Mongo switch and they can do tricks that nobody else can do. So pushing Mongo doesn't really have any real negative side effects besides people think that you're not that good at skating. Tip number 20, if you feel awkward riding a board, see if you can practice in a basement, garage, or visit a skate park early in the morning. There's nobody there, and if someone shows up, it's easier to interact with a single person than a group. I agree. Tip number 21 is hilarious, but don't scratch up your board intentionally to make it look like you skate, because there's going to be a difference in how the scratches look, period. So an experienced skateboarder will be able to tell. Tip number 22, not a popular opinion, but please wear helmets. Helmets can save your life, and beginners and kids should always wear one. This one is controversial. I don't think you have to wear a helmet if you don't want to. Sometimes the thrill and the opportunity to get closer to pain and death is what makes skateboarding what it is for certain people. I know it sounds bizarre, but it is a lot more dangerous to not wear a helmet. But if that's what you're looking for. Tip number 23, if something feels natural to you and others criticize your style, just let them. Yeah, a lot of times if something is awkward looking at first, if you keep doing the trick, it'll kind of start to look unique and cool in its own way. So just keep doing it the way you're doing it. Tip number 24, some tricks need preparation. If you want to kickflip, learn how to ollie first. Yeah, it's true. The better you get down the basic tricks, the easier it's gonna be to actually learn those more difficult tricks. I think it's pretty obvious what tricks you need to learn to do certain tricks, so. Tip number 25, need a place to sit? Use your skateboard. Sweaty butts may leave an imprint. That's hilarious, and yeah, it's very true. I like sitting on my skateboard more than I like sitting like in a chair, probably. Tip number 26, hate to scratch the graphics, just let it go. Boards are meant to be destroyed. I would kind of agree, but you can actually use rails on the board and rails on the nose and tail if you want to prevent the scratching of graphics, and I think that's fine. Tip number 27, I think we're catching a little bit of repeats, but remove twigs, rocks, etc. from where you skate. Yeah, always try to get rid of the rocks. You don't want to die. Tip number 28, stay away from crowded areas if you're a beginner. I actually 100% agree. I think if you are just starting off, go completely isolated because you're going to hurt somebody else. And it's never really cool ever when your skateboard hits a pedestrian who's just minding his own business. Tip number 29, older skater, warm up. Stretch before and after. I usually am sore the next day if I don't. I always stretch after. I don't stretch before, but that's probably great advice. Tip number 30, once you want to go for a trick, practice over and over again. If you get frustrated, move on to do something you have already mastered. Falling can be really demotivating. I actually agree with this 100%. It's not like those weird tropes in movies where people are like, the harder you work, the more successful you are. Sometimes in skateboarding, if you push it too far, you'll actually start to lose the trick. So you kind of just should wait till the next day to get back on it, even though that's super frustrating. Tip number 31, clean your bearings every season. Dust and dirt will find a way into them, and at some point they'll make noises. Bathe them in nail polish remover and lube them with silicone lubricant. A toothbrush also works. I've never tried any of these. Usually new bearings are like $8, and if mine usually break before they become squeaky. So maybe try that. I don't know. I actually never tried that. Tip number 32, inspect your nuts on your, inspect your nuts. Once you sack a handrail, you should definitely make sure your nuts are fine. No, on your trucks and on your kingpins to make sure they're not loose or falling off. That takes like 1 second. Just touch the nuts. See if they're okay. Wow. Use self-locking nuts on wheels and kingpins. That is a type of nut that actually comes with them, but use them in the future if you ever need to replace it. Place spacers between your bearings. They help to keep out the dust and dirt. That's what they're for. I've genuinely never noticed a difference. Some of my bearings have them, some of them don't, and I've never noticed a difference, but yeah, try it. Tip number 35, make sure you also use speed rings on your truck axle. They reduce friction on your bearings. It says they come with your trucks. I don't even know what that, I literally have no idea what that is, so maybe you should Google that. Use a hair dryer or something hot to remove the grip tape. So blow on it for a bit, it makes it easier to peel. Tip number 37, got some air bubbles after applying new grip tape? Puncture them and smooth them out. You can usually do this with the corner of the razor, just poke them and flatten it out, not with your hand on top, but put something over it and then use your hand to rub that down so it doesn't scratch you. Tip number 38, don't use water to clean any part of your board, especially the grip tape. Yeah, don't. Tip number 39 and 40 are similar. It's want to cruise and do tricks. Go with wheels around 56 to 58 millimeters with a durometer between 80A and 92A, that's the hardness. And then tip number 40 is a part of that, and it says if you just want to cruise, remove the small wheels add riser pads, slap on some 63mm hog wheels. That's just pure cruising right there, dude. If you wanna add stickers to your board, make sure you put them closer to your trucks. If it's in the center of your board, they're gonna be scratched off, and the nose and the tail, they're probably gonna get scratched off, but you know. Tip number 42, skateboarding is often about commitment. You really just need to go for it instead of bailing out. I don't really think this is good advice because it's like telling someone to just be good or just not be scared. I would say if you're not prepared to kickflip off a two-stair, but you can kickflip off a curb, kickflip off the curb 4,000 times until you finally commit to kickflipping off that two-stair, because muscle memory will kick in eventually and it will literally override your fear of commitment. Don't skate and listen to music on your phone while cruising. I don't agree. I think you can do that as long as you're aware of your surroundings, but make sure that you're listening it to in a way where you can hear things around you. If someone calls your name or someone says, hey, make sure you can hear them, so. Yeah. Tip number 44, phones. You need them, but where do you leave them? I would kind of recommend not skating with them and just keeping them close. Like if you're using the Bluetooth for music or something, you can just kind of put it in a bag close by where you have an eye on it. In your pockets, it's scary because they're easy to break if you fall on a phone. If you're dealing with an injury, make sure you give it proper time to heal. Yeah, your body can feel it. Wait till you're like actually feeling 100% because skateboarding has a knack for just throwing you into the deep end. Tip number 46, first time dropping in is a scary experience, so make sure to lean forward. Yeah, absolutely. Dropping in is so tough, and I was so terrified at first, but the way I learned how to do it is at our park, we literally had like a 1-foot ramp, a 2-foot ramp, a 3-foot ramp, a 4-foot ramp, and then a 6-foot ramp. So I just dropped in on everything like for an hour straight, over and over and over and over, and it actually is a very, very easy thing to do. That mental barrier is hard though, but of course, go through the steps. Tip number 47, don't skate in icy conditions. I mean, yeah, that's just a scarier version of the wet conditions. Yeah, stay away from the ice, unless, you know, that's your goal, I guess. Look how sweaty I am, dude. It's like 90 degrees outside, so I'm dying. Tip number 48, stay positive. Sure, skateboarding can be frustrating, but freaking out is not going to help. Tricks become harder once you're frustrated, so it's okay to just rest and relax. Too many shows teach you that you need to just grind it, but in skateboarding it really is counterproductive. Tip number 49, every skateboard just tends to turn a little bit on its own, and it's annoying. When you kick it, it's turning, and it's usually something to do with your bushings or your bearings, but sometimes you just gotta deal with what it is, and it's annoying and stupid, and I hate it. Trucks are the worst part of skateboards by far. Tip number 50, skateboarding is a great way to make new friends. Be polite, nice, and respectful. Absolutely, and this guy said that he's still friends with people he made in 1996, as am I. I'm friends with pretty much everyone I've ever met through skateboarding. It's friends for life, and I feel like it's a very cool group of people to kind of move forward with life with, but that's just me subjectively speaking. Number 51, don't stress too much about trick names. Yeah, to me, one of the most annoying features of a human skateboarder is when they're like, actually it's front side, not back side. Actually it's a cab, not a nollie cab. And you're just like, dude, stop. That's fine. So don't stress too much about them. Just try to be able to explain what you're doing to other people without them, I don't know, it's annoying. Tip number 52, people will make remarks. This sucks, especially if you're not like a social media person. It's okay for someone like me who puts themselves out there in the way that I do to get insults, but a skateboarder at a park, I even dealt with this growing up. I would do a double flip and some kid would be like, double flips are whack. And I'm like, that's weird. So that might just be something you have to deal with, but that's just life in general. People kind of hate for no reason. Tip number 53, there's 3 left that I'm gonna read today. Skater trainers might or might not work. It wasn't around when I was younger and they used to use cracks, but for me, I've actually really enjoyed skater trainers through the process. My fiance, my girlfriend at the time, learned how to ollie in like 9 minutes. We have the raw footage on her channel. Learning how to ollie, that's wild to me. Tip number 54, I have never tried, but they said if you want to get strong, train your core. Go to the gym, do some yoga, do the things to work out your core. So maybe that'll work, I don't know. And last but not least, for today, if you did enjoy this, let me know down below and I will do the part 2 for the final ones. Sometimes it's good to listen to your gut. Fear is a part of skateboarding and sometimes your fear is right. If you know you are skilled enough to land a particular trick, fear is often holding you back. Sometimes you're not ready and you need to practice a little more. The fear will go away. Not always though. That's kind of what we said earlier. So if you want to check out the full blog, I will link it down below. Check it out. I feel like it's a really good read. And I agree with most of the points. I'm not sure how many I disagree with. Maybe it was like 10 or so. And it's not even really disagreeing with the full thing. It's kind of like being like, well, there's a part of it that's right and a part of it that's wrong. And that's just my personal opinion. But really, these small nuances that you follow and don't follow from the rules that we're giving aren't really going to affect your big play in skateboarding overall. It's all about going out there, having fun, and excelling because you're having fun. The person who's having the most fun will probably become the best skateboarder because you're the one who's gonna be addicted to doing it as often as possible. On that note, my left arm is killing me from holding this camera. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna try to upload 2 videos a week from now on, so back to my Tuesday, Thursday grind. If that excites you, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care, progress daily, and keep killing it.